Evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points. It's Monday night. The big talking point is what's happened in the Supreme Court, where they've taken on the State Bank of India once again, asked the bank to disclose all details of electoral bonds. Among our newsmakers will be Kapil Sibal, senior lawyer who was in the Supreme Court today on the electoral bonds, and we'll get parties across the board to ask them that question. Should they be voluntarily disclosing their donors? We have plenty to look forward to on the show tonight. But our top story tonight, the Supreme Court has come down heavily once again on the State Bank of India. This time over the bank not disclosing all data related to the controversial electoral bonds donor details. The bench, led by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, asked the State Bank of India to also furnish the unique bond numbers by March 21st, 5 p.m., stating that the State Bank has to give all details both in terms of purchase and recipients of the bonds, warning that the bank cannot be selective in its approach. Will these details reveal connections between political parties and their donors? What really lies ahead? And why is this a major political bomb that's ticking away? It's our top story tonight.
India's election season hits its peak, and so does the issue of electoral fundings. As the SBI's data release begins to uncover political finances by a range of corporate entities, from lottery to infrastructure, mining, telecom and more. The Supreme Court has instructed the bank not to pick and choose which details to disclose. The SBI has been directed to provide all information in full by March 21st, confirming there has been no withholding of information.
That SBI is required to make a complete disclosure of all details in its possession. Full stop. This, we clarify, will include would comprehend the alphanumeric number of, and the serial number, if any, of the bonds which were purchased and redeemed. In order to fully effectuate the order and to obviate any controversy in the future, we direct that the Chairman and Managing Director of SBI shall file an affidavit on or before 5 p.m. on Wednesday, date daldo.
Could we have one more day, Thursday?
Yes, certainly. 5 p.m. on Thursday, indicating that SBI has disclosed all details of the electoral bonds which were in its possession and custody, and that no details have been withheld from disclosure.
This order means that the SBI is now obligated to reveal purchase and redemption dates, as well as the names of the buyers and recipients. The denomination, alphanumeric and serial numbers of the bonds must be provided to the ECI, which will then publish them promptly on its website. The bench rejected the central government's claim of misuse of the order on the electoral bond scheme on social media.
We decide according to the Constitution.
Correct, Manoj.
We are governed by the rule of law. We are also the subject matter of comment on the social media and the press. But surely, as an institution, our shoulders are broad enough.
No, I'm saying, I'm not
Our court has an institutional role to play.
During Monday's hearing, when Advocate Matthew Nedumpara attempted to intervene, the court reprimanded him for disrupting the legal proceedings.
Don't shout at me.
No, I am very soft.
You are obstructing in the process of administration of justice.
My petition for suo motu that is pending. Whatever Lordship want to do, that do only. I will not disturb Lordship.
The court found that the President of Supreme Court Bar Association engaging in publicity-driven tactics when attempting to intervene.
Apart from being a senior counsel, you are the president of the SCBA.
Yeah.
You know the procedure. You have written a letter to me asking me to invoke my suo motu jurisdiction.
Yes, my lord.
No locus to mention
So
anything.
that I should not disturb Lordship. We should not waste it honorable time, court's time. That's why.
Lord,
only that.
These are all publicity-oriented stunts. We will not permit it.
Whatever Lordship feel better.
Mr. Agarwala, please keep it at that. I may have to say something more, which will be perhaps a little distasteful.
A heated hearing in the electoral bonds case.
After Supreme Court's clear and stern directions today, the State Bank of India will now have to disclose all information available with it regarding the electoral bonds, including the alphanumeric bond numbers. The Election Commission of India will then have to forthwith upload that data on its website. The SBI chairman will also have to file an affidavit before Supreme Court by March 21st, stating that no available information has been withheld. With camera person Sanjay Kumar from New Delhi, this is Shrishti Ojha, India Today.
So fireworks in the Supreme Court. Let's see what Kapil Sibal, who was there in the court for the petitioners, has to say. He's joining me right at the very top as one of our newsmakers tonight. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Sibal. How do you read the Supreme Court's order today telling the State Bank of India to divulge all, I repeat, all details of electoral bonds? Do you believe the veil of secrecy that existed between donor and political party or beneficiary will now be fully exposed? Will the matching be done as a result of these details, or is that left to journalists and indeed perhaps activists to do? Mr.
Well,
Sibal.
I don't know about that, but certainly the donor's name will be known. We'll also get the alphanumerical number, which is the unique number of each bond, both issued at the time when the purchase was made and with the political party. So the alphanumeric number will match, and to that extent we'll get to know that this bond went to a political party.
Sir, but the reason I'm asking you this is because the suggestion is that even with this alphanumerical number, State Bank seems to suggest, or their counsel Harish Salve said, it's only for security. It's not an audit trail. The critical question, therefore, is of the audit trail involving matching donors with a political party. I repeat, sir, do you really believe that this will now happen, or will it be up to an individual party to disclose their donors who gave them this money?
You must understand, Rajdeep, that at the time when you purchase the bond, there is a particular bond with a particular alphanumerical number, right? Mm-hmm. That particular bond with that number will ultimately reach a political party.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who would have got the bond.
Yes.
Right? And then encashed it, redeemed it. Right? So therefore, the party which redeemed the bond will get to know as to who gave the bond to him.
No, Mr. Sibal.
And the party who purchased the bond, the bank knows who that party is.
No, but Mr. Sibal,
now, in between, there may be several transactions. We're not concerned with those transactions. But we'll get to know that this particular bond of this amount was given to this particular party.
No,
and this was the name of the purchaser.
Mr. Sibal, the fact is...
And in most of those cases, the purchaser's name will actually be the donor.
Right, Mr. Sibal, but we've already got political parties, and for example...
There are several categories of bonds. One category is you do a raid. One second, hold on, just let me explain. You do a raid, and ED does a raid to a particular person. Within a few days or a few months of that raid, that person gives the bond. Now, there's no problem with that.
Yes.
Because we know who the donor is, we know when the raid took place. No issues on that.
Yes.
So that's not a problem. Then there are another category of bonds where the bonds are directly given to the party. There's no problem there. There may be a third category of bonds where the bond has changed hands. Now, you may not get to know then who the in-betweens were. So I think it's too early for me to say that we'll get all the information at once, but there's enough information to show a quid pro quo.
I'm going to come, Mr. Sibal, to the quid pro quo that you're mentioning, that you believe quid pro quos will get exposed. But the fact is, Mr. Sibal, you've got, interestingly, a few parties who've already disclosed the names of their donors, for example, the DMK. But others, the major national parties, have not. Do you believe that every party's veil of secrecy, whether it's BJP, Congress, Trinamool Congress, BRS, will all be lifted as a result of what the Supreme Court has asked for? Or do you believe there is still many a slip between the cup and the lip here?
See, Rajdeep, I am not. I mean, I possibly don't know the trail, but there will be many cases in which we'll know the name of the purchaser and we'll know the name of the donor. In many of these cases, because there'll be a direct transaction. between the person who gave the bond to the political party after an ED raid was committed, or a person who directly gave the bond. For example, big companies directly gave the bond to the political party concerned. But there may be transactions where that trail may not be established. So, I can't possibly give you a blanket answer that every bonds purchaser, every bonds donor will be disclosed. But by and large, we'll get enough information to suggest that these are proceeds of crime, and this is unfortunately perhaps the biggest scam that's happened in the history of this country.
Now, one minute, you're calling it the biggest scam possibly in independent India. You've used the word quid pro quo, but there are those who are saying that actually the electoral bond was a more effective way for corporates and individuals to donate money to a political party. It was not being done underground through cash, and that was preferable to the earlier system. How do you respond to that?
No, but cash, again...
How do you interpret that?
Again,
cash.
You're asking the wrong question. This bond that is given to a political party has nothing to do with cash.
Sir?
Cash is used by political parties in any case.
Yes.
Because the maximum that any member of parliament can spend in an election is 95 lakhs. But what he spends in many states in this country, and some of the states where there are mines and other things, is in crores, hundreds of crores. Do you think that is done through bonds?
That's precise. So that's precisely the point.
That cash is in any case spent. And if you wanted to have a scheme, hold on, if you wanted...
Mr. Sibal, what I'm saying is you've used the word quid pro quo and scam. Please. Are you telling me, Mr. Sibal, every electoral bond that was given, or possibly many of them were in return for specific favors? When you say quid pro quo will be exposed and this is the country's biggest scam, I want clarity from you why you say that.
I mean, I never make such blanket statements. I never make such blanket statements. It's not the way I function in politics. But there are certainly, in the light of what has already come on record, that in the case of people who were raided, in case against people who were being raided by the ED, and within months and within days, they purchased bonds and gave it to the political party, and nothing happened thereafter. Now, if as a journalist you think that's not a quid pro quo, that's really something that you must, ask yourself that question. But from any standpoint, obviously, there is a quid pro quo there. Now, I can't say that in every case there is a quid pro quo, but the fact is that the scheme was not transparent. So if a businessman or an industrialist or anybody else wanted to give money to a political party, he should have done it through check. That was also allowed. Why did he not do it through check? Why did he have to go and buy this bond? Naturally, because the intent of the scheme itself was to ensure that the political party in power gets enriched, which is why the BJP has got over 6,000 crores through these bonds, through this scheme, which allowed for non-disclosure of the donor.
Mr. Sibal,
it's obvious. It is obvious.
What
was to enrich the political
obvious,
party. It is called an electoral bond. One second, let me just tell you. It is called an electoral bond, but it's nothing to do with elections.
No, but Mr. Sibal, the Home Minister of the country, Amit Shah, says BJP is the single largest party of the country, dominant party. It's bound to get the largest number of monies through bonds. The Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitaraman, says the fact that companies which were raided then allegedly gave this bond money is an assumption. That it's not necessary that the ED stopped their inquiries against him. This is how the government is responding. How do you respond to what you're hearing from the Finance Minister and the Home Minister, sir?
So then prosecute everybody. Point is, what is it? I mean, the Finance Minister, I think, having been a Finance Minister for so many years, if her wisdom tells her that after the raid, the money given in bonds to a particular party has nothing to do with the quid pro quo, I salute the wisdom of the Finance Minister. That's all that I can say. That I'm really amazed at her wisdom and something to be lauded. But unfortunately, it's not consistent with common sense. That's all that I can say. And as far as the Home Minister is concerned, if as far as the Home Minister is concerned, then all these people should have given to the political party without and having their names disclosed, instead of saying, we'll not disclose our names, we want this bonds and we'll give this money to a political party. What prevented anybody to disclose their names and give the money to the political party? Nothing prevented.
No, nothing.
Anybody from doing that. They could have given a check.
Nothing.
Why did they have to buy a bond?
Nothing prevents them, Mr. Sibal, but that's the nub of the issue. It's all very well for us here to say that, corporate should or individual should give by check to political parties, but you know better than anyone else that people are reluctant in the past to give by check because they fear that, for example, if they give it to the opposition, the government of the day, whether at the state or center, may target them. Therefore, according to your old friend Arun Jaitley, who brought in this, anonymity was seen as a way to encourage political parties to give money which otherwise would have gone underground and been given through cash. And the fear now is that we'll go back to that bad old system where the money goes underground, because the Supreme Court has not yet given us a solution.
No, not at all. You can still give a check. You can...
Sir.
Incidentally, I don't want to argue here. You can still give a check. If I want to give money to a political party, and I've done so, in my capacity as a member of parliament, I've done so. And I've given a check. And I've disclosed my name to a political party. Nothing prevents anybody from... And I've not been prosecuted. Nothing prevents anybody from doing that. The fact of the matter...
The fear factor prevents it.
Puerile about this. The fact of the matter is that every industrialist has a lot of work with the government on a daily basis. Some will get contracts. Some will sort of, get favors, all kinds of favors. Somebody would want his case to be closed. And therefore, you have a wonderful scheme in which you don't have to disclose your name and keep on giving money. And you think that the BJP did not know that they will get the maximum money? Of course they knew, because they are in power of the center. And through the exercise of that power, they can grant a lot of favors, as will be demonstrated very soon, because all these facts will emerge.
Sir, what?
The fact of the matter is, this is a scheme through which the BJP wanted to enrich itself, and it did enrich itself. There's no doubt about it. And they knew that it would enrich them. And they never used any of this for elections. They did it to build their offices. 1 second. They invested it in their offices, in their national networks.
Mr. Sibal.
They built this by booking airplanes, by getting people from one political party from flying from one place to another. They did it for all this. The money that is given to buy A, B, or C to defect from a political party is not given by check. It's given by cash. That happens anyway.
Sir, I take your point, but the fact also is that regional parties are also getting a large number of monies in these bonds, disproportionate according to the Home Minister. When you compare it to the number of MPs and MLAs that they have, many of the parties, Trinamool, Congress, BRS, have also got a disproportionate amount of money, DMK. So it's not as if it's just the BJP here, isn't it?
I am not, look, anybody, any political party, if the scheme is actually launched, will take advantage of it. The question is not, the question is what was the intent of the scheme? The question is why the secrecy? The question is why non-disclosure? The question is why not bring it out in the open and give it to the party you want to give it in? Then you know what your affiliation is. What's the secrecy about it? And this is nothing to do with cash. This is white money. This is white money, and I can give a donation to anybody I want in a political party. But the fact is that is also not an issue. You can give whatever money you want, but you can't get favors for it. And if we are able to establish that, and that's a matter of investigation, then it's a very serious matter, because then it's proceeds of crime, then it's money laundering, then the property has to be seized, then all that the law will follow.
Okay.
Right?
You're saying presumably that the anonymity is what is troubling you most, but may I ask you a final question, Mr. Sibal? Do you believe that the Supreme Court, while declaring these bonds unconstitutional, while asking SBI for all details, should have also provided what's the way forward? You're into an election. How are you going to encourage corporates now to provide by check? Do you believe this will now encourage people to once again take cash underground? because in India, whether we like it or not, no one wants their names disclosed that they are funding political parties. Should the court be providing an alternate system? Should there be, next time when you appear in front of court, will you ask for a better system somewhere to be provided? Or are we doing out with the baby with the bathwater?
Let me answer that. Number one, it's not the job of the court to provide any system. It's the job of the political establishment. Okay? That's not the remit of the court. That's not the duty of the court. So don't keep the court out of it. Number two, I will tell you how it can easily be done. Let all these industrialists give them whatever they want to donate. Let them give it to the Election Commission. Okay, so you have, say, 6,000 crores to the Election Commission, given by all industrialists, all donors anywhere in the country. Then divide that amongst all the members of parliament who are going to fight elections equally. And you have no scam. And you have donations and nobody will be prosecuted or persecuted. There are very simple ways of dealing with it. But if you want clandestinely to enrich yourself, then you float such a scheme, which is what they did. I've given you a solution which is unexceptionable.
Right.
Where there will be no, nobody will be persecuted. Just give it to the Election Commission and distribute it amongst every member. And if BJP has more members, over 300 people, they'll get more money. But each member will get the same amount.
Right. Right. Well, it's
and
good.
It won't go to the party.
Okay. No, it's good that you're giving that solution, because the fear, of course, is that between rent-seeking politicians and companies and individuals seeking favors, the system has been corrupted. Now, you could argue that the election bonds enabled some to carry on with that corruption or legalized it in a way. Or you could say that, can we get an alternate system that will change the way campaigns are financed? But Kapil Sibal, as someone who's been involved in this case from the beginning, for joining me tonight, thank you very much for joining me and offering a solution that you have. Interesting solution there from Sibal. Take all the monies and give it to all the MPs openly, depending on the strength of each party. Let's turn, though, to the other big question. Should all these parties now voluntarily disclose their donors? Remember, the DMK and 10 other parties have done it. But why are the major parties not doing it? Are they hiding something on electoral bonds? Was the bond system devised for quid pro politics, as Mr. Sibal seemed to allege? Is there a better system out there of campaign financing? These are some of the questions I will raise. Jaiprakash Narayan is founder Lok Satta movement that has pushed for anti-corruption. Adil Singh Bopara is spokesperson Congress. Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson BJP, a former MP. I'll also be joined by Dr. S.A.S. Hafizullah, spokesperson of the DMK, and Abhinita Mathur is spokesperson Aap. Thank you all very much for joining us. I'm going to come to each of you and I'll ask you to keep your comments brief. First to you, Dr. Zafar Islam, the BJP, 54% of the bonds, more than 8,000 crores have gone to you since 2019, but you're not disclosing anything so far. The DMK has disclosed it. Why is the BJP not disclosing the name of the donors?
Well, Rajdeep, the large share has to be there because we are the largest party. We have the maximum number of MPs, sure, maximum number of MLAs, maximum number of a government estate. And if you see most of the corporate who actually do political or give donation to political parties, they have certain formula to follow. The formula is based on the number of MPs each party has.
No, so why are you not disclosing the names? No, Dr. Zafar Islam, Dr. Zafar Islam, I take your point. Why are you not disclosing the names? If DMK can do it, why can't you?
See, what DMK has done, what other party has done is not applicable to us.
No, why are you
not
doing
do what is appropriate, what is important for us, and what needs to be done.
Why do you think it's inappropriate? Why do you think, sir, it's inappropriate to disclose names? So why do you think it's inappropriate to disclose names?
I'm saying that whatever needs to be, we need not, I didn't say that. I said whatever is appropriate, needs to be done, will be done.
No, are you telling me you will disclose all the names?
Who has problem in disclosing it?
Will you disclose all the names of the donors? I'm asking a straight question.
See, the allegation which you or Mr. Kapil Sibal was pointing at us,
yes,
it is absolutely untrue that it is a quid pro. There is absolutely no quid pro.
How
Bharatiya
is
Janata
there
Party doesn't
absolutely
believe
no
in quid pro.
quo?
We
The
have
assumption,
actually
sir, 14
demolished
of the
this
30 top
concept
donors.
of
1
quid
minute,
pro.
sir. Sir, 1
which
minute.
was happening in
14
the
of the
past.
top 30 donors have been raided or investigated, and they seem to have given you bonds soon after those raids took place. Am I not to make 2 and 2? 2 or 2 4? Ya 5?
See, these agencies have a different role to play. That's independent agency. We do not interfere in their work.
Okay.
And the political donation is is a company which decides based on their surplus money what they want to donate to the political party. These are two independent decisions. One is taken by the organization. One is taken by the agencies. Where are we in this case?
Okay.
We as a political party have to accept donation, and not because somebody is being investigated by any agency.
Sir, but it is a bit unusual if 50%, virtually 50%. Sir, I take your point. Adil Singh Bopara, you want to jump in because the Congress also...
No, let me ask you...
No, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, one by one. There are 5 guests, each one will get equal time.
One question.
Yes.
One question I am raising, ask, you respond.
Yes.
You respond, this question is to you.
Yes, sir.
See now, how many MLAs are there in the country? And how many MLAs we have? Just see the number.
Sure.
How
Sir, you're mixing issues. How many MPs and MLAs are there is one issue. Why you don't? I have a single point today that I'm asking all political parties. Why will you not disclose the names of donors? Adil Singh Boparai, to you. Why is the Congress not disclosing the name of donor? You take the moral high ground. You're attacking the BJP for quid pro quo. Please tell the country who your donors are.
Well, Mr. Sardesai, that question today is OTOs. And why I say this is that once the Supreme Court has directed the SBI to disclose the alphanumeric number, and once that alphanumeric number is uploaded on the EC website, that tallying can be done and the cat will be out of the bag.
No,
So
that's not what the SBI says. The SBI says the alphanumeric number, which can be found through ultraviolet rays, is only, according to the SBI, only a security number. It's not necessarily an audit trail.
No, Mr. Sardesai, our understanding is, subject to correction, our understanding is that once a bond is purchased, there is a distinct, unique number which is there on every bond. Now this information, once it comes out in public domain, then the donor, which is the corporate entity, and the party to which this bond is donated, this tallying can be done. So therefore, that is not the issue today. That issue has become academic. I do follow your point. But today, after the Supreme Court judgment, that issue has become academic. Number two,
it's not academic. If you today, Mr. Adil Singh Boparai, if you gave the list of donors, you can take the moral high ground.
No, the question is there is a second dimension, Mr. Sardesai. That dimension is, please look at the political environment today. You have a vindictive government which does not leave any stone unturned to alter a level playing field. In the case of the Congress party, you have a malicious government which has frozen our bank accounts. So therefore, this question is not as simplistic as you're putting it out to be. But notwithstanding this, my understanding is that your query today has become OTOs once the Supreme Court has directed the SBI to reveal the number. Point number two, which your viewers need to know today. Please take the case of Future Gaming, the Lottery King. He is raided by the Enforcement Directorate on the 2nd of April 2022. 2nd of April 2022. 5 days later, the same company which is raided by the ED donates 100 crores to the BJP. The same company is raided by the Income Tax Department in October 2023. And within 30 days, you have this company donating 65 crore rupees of money to the Bharatiya Janata Party. This, to my understanding, is a classic case of legalized extortion. Please see the chronology. You have a government which uses the threat of investigating agencies to put pressure on entities. In pursuance of that threat, you have that corporate entity donating money to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and as a corollary, those cases disappear in thin air. I think this needs to be understood by the people of this country.
Okay.
This is legalized plunder by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
You've
this is arguably the biggest scam
Mr.
in the history of India.
Mr. Boparai, you've raised the chronology in the case of Future Gaming, which is the highest donor with more than 1,300 crores. But I want to come to my DMK guest at that moment, therefore, because Dr. SAS Hafizullah, the fact is, it has now been revealed through your DMK list that 37% of this 1,300 crore plus, that was given by Future Gaming came to you, came to the DMK. They're a Chennai-based lottery company. They've given it to you. They've not just given it to the BJP. So why should the BJP only claim the? Why should you only claim the BJP is doing quid pro quo? You also had a deal with this gaming company.
No, I mean, the quid pro quo is that we should have done something in favor for the company who has donated. See, in this case, it is a classical case which has multiple components of quid pro quo, kickbacks, money laundering and extortion. See, as far as the Future Gaming is concerned, we have not done any favor for that company because lottery is banned in Tamil Nadu. When the online rummy issue came, it is our government which went against this party, which against this rule. In fact, the governor which was sent by the BJP was favoring online gaming. So the quid pro quo here is not established.
No, the quid pro quo is apparently that members of the Santiago Martin family had links both with the BJP and DMK. That's the accusation.
No. See, merely having a link does not mean anything unless and until a favor is done in return. And to establish this fact, before we came to power in 2021, we had funds of around 210 crores. When we were in opposition itself, we had 210 crores and now it is 600 crores in another 3 years. So what we are saying is there is no establishment of quid pro quo or there is no establishment of extortion here.
Are you open for any investigation into Future Gaming and its alleged links with the DMK? Are you open for any investigation?
Definitely. See, ED is with them. I'll give an example. A mere allegation of 1.8 crores. A minister is lying in the jail for a case filed by the ED. What is happening with Manish Sisodia? When ED has all that power, let them go behind Mega Engineering, let them go behind Future Gaming or whosoever who have funded to any political party. That is irrespective of what DMK wants to say. But here it is a case. This government always talks about transparency. Where is transparency? SBI is trying to shield this government, shield the BJP by giving no very simple reason. And what is BJP saying? Your Prime Minister is going and talking about digital India and success of digital India. When the court is asking you to submit documents, BJP comes up and says, we don't have a document. When your Prime Minister is claiming about success of digital India, where BJP doesn't have anything in digital, SBI doesn't have anything in digital.
Okay, you make your point, Dr.
failure of digital India?
Dr. Hafizullah, you made your point. I'm glad at least that the DMK has come voluntarily disclosed name, but Abhinandita Mathur, spokesperson, Aam Aadmi Party has done partial disclosure. You've disclosed what you got before 2019, but not after. You claim to be a party that stands up against corruption. Just disclose the names.
Certainly, Rajdeep, we will. And I am happy that you mentioned that we are one of the only parties who has declared our electoral bond incoming for before 2019, and certainly we will.
No, certainly we will. What are you waiting for? You see, if some parties can do it, why can't you?
We will. Our teams are looking into it. Look, the court itself has given now time till tomorrow,
right?
If I'm not mistaken,
till Thursday to State Bank. But are you giving us a commitment that Aam Aadmi Party will disclose all the details?
Absolutely, Aam Aadmi Party will.
Okay, that's reassuring. Jaiprakash Narayan, you're listening to the politicians. As I said, in general, what electoral bond seems to be slowly exposing is how rent-seeking politicians operate with those who are dependent on government largesse, infrastructure companies, even some drug companies. And the fact is that they are coming together, gaming companies, because electoral bonds provided them a secrecy.
Rajdeep, let me make a broad statement. Even though many politicians are individually honest, without institutional corruption, honesty and survival are not compatible in India right now. Let's face facts. Grandstanding will do no good. I was the one instrumental in persuading the political parties after the Tehelka scam to bring in a law giving the donors 100% tax exemption. Perhaps India is the only major country where such a system is available. What happened is, BJP apparently, Mr. Arun Jaitley told me several times subsequently, BJP took a decision not to take any money by cash because the donor has tax exemption. There's no point collecting by cash. We'll only ask for check. Despite their being in power, within 3 months, the receipts fell by 80 to 90%. It is that experience that I think informed Mr. Arun Jaitley when he became finance minister later. And therefore, he thought of a lawyerly solution, not a democratic, transparent solution, but he wanted a solution where the donor gets tax exemption, the party gets by not a cash but accounted money and spend it in an accountable manner. This is how we landed in this mess. But see the situation before the electoral bonds. I have some numbers here, 2004 to 2011, in those 8 years. The major parties, only 8% came from disclosed sources. 8.9%. Indian National Congress, only 8%. BJP, only 17%. BSP, 0%. Nationalist Congress Party, 6%. CPM, 1%. So we are not looking at a perfect world and a bad world. We are looking at an imperfect world. So within that, we have to figure out a solution. We definitely require transparency. Nobody in a democracy can argue against transparency. We need to know where the funds are coming from, how they are deployed. We also require a situation where cash is not the primary source of funding political parties, unaccounted and illegitimate. So we are pretending as if there is no cash economy. The total money you're talking about in electoral bonds in the last 14, 15 bonds or checks, it's only about 5% or less than 5% of the total political expenditure in India. I come from a state of Telangana. I know intimately Andhra Pradesh. I'm sure many of us know what's happening in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Let us not pretend that this is the money that is being spent. A single state in an assembly election is spending 10 to 12,000 crores in some of the major states. So the real challenge is much bigger. We are now using a red herring instead of addressing the problem and finding a solution. There are two central issues we have to tackle. One is, can you create an electoral system where this money distribution and vast expenditure, hundreds of crores of rupees per Lok Sabha in some cases, tens of crores of rupees for assembly constituency per candidate, that we can give that up and have a decent electoral contest. It will take a lot of doing. Mr. Vajpayee as Prime Minister used to say every day, we are lying through the teeth. We are telling the people that we spent only within the ceiling limits. The first affidavit we are filing itself is a lie.
No, give me a solution. Give me a solution, Jayaprakash Narayan. I think everyone knows the problem that electoral bonds were only a fraction of what political parties spend during elections. What's the solution? Kapil Sibal said,
there are
once you collect
solutions
through the bonds, give it to each MP in a fixed proportion. Does that work?
It's a bad idea because this money is meant for the political parties functioning. It's not about election finance. And therefore, giving money to MPs is meaningless. This is not about electoral contest. Parties need money. Politics is a noble endeavor. How can you run a party? How can you run a campaign? How can you do research? How can you campaign? How can you publicize? How can you have public meetings without resources available, legitimately collected, legitimately spent? This is not about election expenditure alone. Election expenditure is where most of the cash is deployed. So that's a bad solution. But
the worry is that if you start encouraging, incentivizing people to give by check, how do you incentivize them? Because the fear is that the moment you do it through check, if you give it to the opposition, the government will go after you. That's the fear. That's the difference between us and the United States, for example.
I entirely agree.
We have weaponized the enforcement agencies.
Therefore, there are three approaches we have to look at altogether. One, can we, for the party's functioning, not electoral purpose, can the party's functioning give money from the public exchequer in proportion to the votes they get? Germany has that system. Many countries have that system. Per vote they get in the last election, they get X amount of money. That should be enough for the party's survival. As far as the elections are concerned, election expenditure, that's the real expenditure in the country. Probably in an election cycle in India, we are spending 100,000 crores. I am saying with all sense of responsibility. In Andhra Pradesh, where election is due now, assembly election,
right?
Anybody who knows politics of Andhra Pradesh knows roughly about 10,000 crores is going to be spent in that state. Telangana, where we had elections a few months ago, we spent about 8 to 9,000 crores in Telangana. Everybody knows that. We're pretending it doesn't exist. No, that cannot be addressed by all these things. One, we have to create a framework in which you don't have to buy vote. You must change the electoral system. In the first past the post system, where the marginal vote is all important, In many states...
What's your second?
The second one is, can we create a political economy where the political executive or the party in power cannot determine the economic fortunes of enterprises and individuals? Right now, there's no real rule of law.
Number three.
But in reality, it's not there. It will not happen overnight.
Okay.
We have to now start doing that. Without doing these two things, pretending that there is some angel or some demon, pretending it's a battle between good and evil, is a romantic notion. It's a surreal debate.
I take your point, and that's why I'm glad you're there, because you are not connected with any of these parties. But, you know, Syed Zafar Islam, the BJP has to take the lead. And the fear, I'll tell you where the opposition parties are coming in. They think you have weaponized agencies. The manner, according to them, that enforcement directorate in particular is used, 95% of the cases are against opposition politicians. That leads to fear. It leads to fear among corporates, among individuals. If there is a check system, will be targeted. So you gave it through electoral bonds, through secrecy, and managed to avoid, in a way, being raided. The fact is, I repeat, Dr. Zafar Islam, 14 of the 30 top donors are companies being investigated. What does that suggest?
Rajdeep, you are repeating the same thing time and again. It doesn't suggest anything. As I said earlier, these are two independent agencies pursuing their own objective based on evidence what they have. No, whether ED or CBI or income tax cannot raid you unless they have some leads.
Yes, but then when they give donations straight after Adil Singh Bopara has pointed out a chronology which is very troubling. You raid a company, 10 days later the company gives you 60 crores.
I think they should come, first they should come out and explain this party which has just 53 MPs or 52 MPs, how did they get 1900 crore? They have government in one or two states.
Yes.
And then you should ask the TMC, how come they have got 1700 crore? Bharatiya Janata Party having more than 50% of the MLAs and more than 50% of MPs.
Adil Singh Bopara respond to this. Okay, Adil Singh Bopara respond to what Zafar Islam is saying. Zafar Islam is saying the party which is dominant will naturally get the most money. What about parties like yours, TMC and other smaller parties?
Mr. Sardesai, the BJP is deliberately skirting the issue. The most significant bane of this scheme was that it violated the voters' right to information. This is one part of it. And on this principle, the Supreme Court struck it down. But please see the part which is dangerous for the electoral system and for the democracy of this country, which is when the ruling party uses agencies to extort money. I have given you the example of Santiago Martin. Within 5 days of his raid, he makes a donation of 100 crore rupees and that case has disappeared into thin air. Point number one. Point number two, you have the BJP's washing machine. There are leaders from the opposition who joined the BJP. I am curious to know what's going to happen about the cases as far as Mr. Ashok Chavan is concerned. What happened to the cases against Mr. Ajit Pawar? What happened to the cases against Mukul Roy? What happened to the cases against Shiv Sena leaders? So therefore, the BJP is using agencies to extort money. This is one part. The second part is in the case of mega infrastructure. What the BJP has done is that it has used the route of electoral bonds to give contracts to corporate entities. The third dimension is that corporate entities, which are essentially shell companies with very meager incomes and profits, are donating money almost 15 or 20 times their capacity. So therefore, the answer is these are companies or shell companies which are routing money for other corporate entities. This is a very murky system.
This is a murky system, but as Jaiprakash Narayan mentioned, remember the real money still comes through cash. Abhinandita, you wanted to make a point. Very quickly, ma'am. Very quickly.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv. I'm actually appalled at the arrogance of the BJP spokesperson today. I think that, the way in which he said that there are so many MLAs and MPs, in fact, more than thousands of MLAs and MPs have been bought by them. So what are they talking about? And, that is where the money is perhaps being used. But more importantly, it is a matter of fact now that the BJP is actually no more a party, it's a company, and that is how it is functioning. The kind of wealth that the BJP has accumulated, and this is what we know as of now. God knows how much more they have, and slowly as the skeletons will come out. But this is a really
you all are
scary
all
situation.
attacking Syed Zafar Islam, so he deserves a final word. Dr. Zafar Islam, come clean today. You said you're a party with a difference. A party with a difference should set the standards. Prime Minister says, "Na khaunga, na khane dunga." You must set the standards.
They brought in the scheme.
Ma'am, they brought in the scheme. Let him respond. Let him respond.
No. Let me respond to that question.
Yes.
Rajdeep, we have brought transparency. They used to collect cash, like Congress MP Sahu, who had recently ID raided and they got 550 crore cash with him. I mean, this kind of money they want to keep. We were able to bring transparency. If it's not a perfect system, we can improve it further based on the suggestion made by others. But let me ask you one question and pose this question to everyone. How come one BRS in one state, 1,000 crore, how they were extorting money, if they were extorting, and if TMC, one state, 1,700 crore. We are in 17 states. We are in this government, central government. We have merely 8,000 crore. Just extrapolate it.
Okay.
We should have been getting till 20,000 crore or more than that.
Yeah, but
we didn't do that. Because these are two independent works.
So whether you got 6,000 or 20,000 crores, if it involves quid pro quos, it is prima facie corruption in some form.
Absolutely not. This is what I'm saying.
Dilute that.
You should ask
the proof has to be in quid pro quos. If we can prove quid pro quos, and that's what I'm going to continue to focus on in the next few days. Yes, Mr. Hafizullah, final word, 30 seconds.
No, the BJP has never promised that they are going to reveal the details. Bringing out the details of their donors is going to expose their corruption tooth and nail. BJP is the most corrupt party in the Indian history, which has legitimized corruption. Just because you receive money from a banking channel doesn't make it white.
Okay.
There are money laundering cases here. This is going to come out. If there is going to be a Supreme Court monitored investigation into the source of funding.
Dr. Hafizullah, I've run completely out of time. I appreciate all my guests joining us. As I said, it is dal mein kuch kala hai ya puri dal kali hai when it comes to the way campaign financing takes place in this country is going to continue to rock this show, at least as we head into elections. I don't know about other channels that don't seem to want to discuss the real issues of our time. Let's turn from there to another story that I want to tell you today of a 5-year-old Yunus Kidwai. He's been diagnosed by a rare muscular disease called DMD. The young boy is facing difficulties to even get out of his bed, and the cost of the disease's treatment is over 26 crores. That's right, 26 crores for a single shot of injection. His parents are running from pillar to post looking for help. Take a look at our story.
खेलता हूँ। क्या-क्या खेलते हो? गाड़ियाँ खेलता हूँ।
The muscles of 5-year-old Yunus Kidwai is getting damaged with each passing minute. Slowly and gradually, even getting out of bed may become a harrowing task for this young boy. He is suffering from a rare disorder named Duchenne muscular dystrophy, or DMD, a condition that causes skeletal and heart muscle weakness that quickly gets worse with time.
As a child, he is very happy, joyful and all that. But then when he was approximately 4 and a half, we noticed that he was not able to climb the stairs. He was not able to run. He was not able to participate in sports events in his school. So we looked closely, and after that we went to his pediatrician, who pointed out this and said that there is some issue with him.
After intense treatment and diagnosis at the PGI Lucknow, his case was referred to AIIMS in New Delhi. A prescription-based gene therapy that consists of an injection is needed to treat the rare disease. But the cost of the treatment is over 26 crore rupees for a single shot and is insurmountable task for his parents.
When we came to know about this disease and when we got a letter from AIIMS, we got this letter on 13th of February stating that the cost of the therapy is $3.2 million. So it was very disheartening. It was very painful for us to understand that how we are going to arrange this huge amount.
Appealing to people for mass funding, the parents say that people's contribution, regardless of the amount, can be a lifeline for their child's treatment.
We are working on crowdfunding platform. So till date, in 60 days, we have achieved around 72 lakh rupees. I appeal to the government, I appeal to the philanthropist, I appeal to common people. If common people can come down, it's not impossible.
He's my only child, and I really want everybody to come together so that even after 15-20 years, I can say that yes, he's my only child and he's fit and fine.
Both parents have also started an online campaign to garner support for their son. They are running the campaign through a social media handle on Instagram and asking people to help, even with the smallest contribution, to save the life of this young boy, Yunus Kidwai. With Abhishek Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
And here's how you can help young Yunus Kidwai. This is where you can help him fight DMD. There's a crowdfunding campaign that's going on impactguru.com. Just log in there and find out how you can help this young boy. Okay, I want to leave you tonight, though, with something that's happier, a thrilling spectacle and a sign that Srinagar is looking good. It witnessed a Formula 4 cars whizzing around the scenic Dal Lake against the backdrop of the snow-capped mountains. These are the images that even the Prime Minister today was tweeting out to claim that, well, life is getting better in Srinagar with these races taking place along the Dal Lake. Well, let's hope for the very best. For now, as I leave you with those images, you stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.